This is Chris Kelly with the West Monroe West Washita Chamber, and we're joined today with Cameron Brister from Square Plan IT, Plan It. And so we're continuing our three-part series on kind of getting the most of what you're already paying for. So many of us are, already subscribers to Microsoft Office 365. You're paying that $15 a month or whatever it is, or you get it through your company. Making the most of some of those features is really pretty amazing. Last time we talked about using Microsoft Bookings, at the Chamber, we've already taken advantage of that so that we have a public page that people can actually book our time. So it makes it a little bit easier in scheduling meetings, instead of those 6 emails back and forth. Well, I can do these 5 dates. Well, you can do those. And already we've cleared up some things. So we're continuing that dialogue. As always, we partner with a chamber member to kind of present this information. If there's a class that you'd like to see us do or some product that you'd like us to present, as always, send me an email and we'll find somebody to kind of do that. So Cameron, today, tell us about what we're going to explore topic-wise.
Yeah, so today, Chris, we're going to talk about Microsoft Teams and specifically using Microsoft Teams to centralize your communication and collaboration. So that might be with your internal team, that could be with your customers or your other business partners. It's such a full-featured solution, and it kind of is a one-stop shop to bring a lot of different tools and communications into one place. So I'm going to share my screen here, and we can get started. Again, this is part of our Small Business Academy series that talks about getting the most from your Microsoft 365 subscription. You hit the nail on the head. A lot of businesses are paying for this today, and they aren't nearly getting the value out of their subscription. Honestly, the $15 or $20 a month per user that businesses pay for Microsoft 365 is such an incredible value if you really make the most of the platform. And so again, today, this presentation is going to help us explore that a little further, looking at Microsoft Teams. If you've seen tech news recently, or even if you're not following tech news specifically, you've probably seen a lot of to-do about some of the new AI advancements. ChatGPT is a term that a lot of people have heard recently, and bringing conversational AI into the mix. And so when I was preparing for this presentation, I thought I'd spice it up a bit and ask ChatGPT to write me a limerick about Microsoft Teams. You can see here on the screen, this is what it came up with. There once was a tool called Teams by Microsoft. Its meetings were all quite restrictive. With voice video calls so clear and chat rooms all near, it makes remote work feel less hectic. Now, I don't know about you, but I wasn't super impressed with that. So I said, this is awful, try again. And here's what it came up with. Here's another attempt, I'll do my best. A platform for Teams. Microsoft has a gem. In Teams, all your work can stem. With video chat so grand and files at your hand, you'll wonder how you ever worked at the office ahem. So I wasn't super impressed with that, but it does give you a good laugh. I tried one more thing, and I asked ChatGPT, what are the 5 most useful features of Microsoft Teams? And I actually did like this response because it really actually aligned well with the presentation that we have today. And it pretty much actually covers the bullet points that I had planned to discuss. So this is what ChatGPT responded. Microsoft Teams is a comprehensive collaboration platform that offers a variety of features to help teams work together more effectively. And then it lists the 5 most useful features it thinks for Microsoft Teams, including chat and messaging, video and audio conferencing, file sharing, collaboration, task management and planning, and then customization with external integrations. And so if we look here, this is actually what I had planned to discuss today. So it pretty much mirrors kind of what we think is at least the high points for Microsoft Teams. Teams, again, can be a one-stop shop for lots of business communication and collaboration. So starting with chat, that can be a one-to-one chat with an internal team member. You can have groups within the chat function. So if you want to send a message to 2 or 3 different people at once and collaborate on a task or discuss something, it brings that chat feature. Teams is also useful for video and audio meetings. So today we're presenting this over Zoom, but Microsoft Teams can also facilitate video and audio meetings. It can also facilitate webinars. So if you think of maybe a more broadcast style presentation, kind of different from what we're doing here today, where we definitely encourage collaboration. And for anybody who's on the call with us, if you have a question along the way, feel free to pipe up and ask, and then we'll also have a Q&A at the end. But a webinar for Teams would be, again, more kind of a broadcast style, where you're not necessarily encouraging, several different people to hop in and be part of that conversation. But it's really powerful in that you can have multiple presenters on the back end. If you're hosting a meeting or a webinar, there are a lot more powerful features around having Q&A and being able to surface questions publicly or privately, and manage that kind of on the back end. So that's one of the features there for webinars. And then also Teams can handle files, calendars, and task lists. So it kind of brings in all of your cloud files through tools like OneDrive or SharePoint. Or even if you're using a third-party provider like Google Drive or Dropbox, you can actually integrate those services within Teams to share files and to access those files. And then of course, your personal calendar that you're managing within Outlook is surfaced within Microsoft Teams. If you remember back, the first series we had here in the Small Business Academy series this quarter, where we talked about Microsoft bookings, you can even manage your bookings calendars through Microsoft Teams, and we'll show a little bit of that here in a little bit. Also, task lists. So if you're using Microsoft To Do to manage your task list, you can view that within the Teams interface. We already mentioned there are a lot of integrations, both within the Microsoft ecosystem and even with third-party vendors. So one of the example scenarios I'll show here in just a few minutes, where we are looking at the integration with Microsoft Bookings and actually how Teams can take bookings to the next level using features like virtual appointments. And the good thing is with Microsoft Teams is it's across all platforms. So whether you want to access Teams on the web through your standard web browser, if you would prefer to access it through a desktop app, or even on your mobile device or tablet, it's available across all platforms. All of your data syncs, all of your chat and communication, everything is synced. Your read status, if you've read a message, things like that, everything is synced and is across all platforms. So it's a really powerful, again, kind of a one-stop shop for a lot of different communication and collaboration tools. Before I go any further, do we have any questions?
Cameron, am I right in thinking that you can also do an add-on, like a fake phone number through Teams that follows you?
You can. Actually, that's a great point. So you can actually use what's called Teams phone system. And so that would be one way to bring, instead of having a separate phone system for your business, you can actually bring numbers into Teams. So you could bring your business phone system directly into Teams. You can make and receive calls, standard phone calls through the PSTN network through Microsoft Teams. That's absolutely possible. And then just a quick look at the interface here before we get started, and we'll hop into a live demo here. But this right here is Teams, and this is what Teams looks like either on the web in a web browser or the desktop app. Their look is pretty much the same between the two, and it's also available on your mobile device. So here are some screenshots that we grabbed from an iPhone, and you can see here you can access all of your Teams. I'll go into a little more detail into what this is, what you're seeing, but just to show you that across platforms, you've got access to all of that data. So hopping into a live Teams instance here, this is Teams for Web, and you can see that we've got some chat messages here. These are one-to-one chats. You can have a group chats here. We've got a chat with Deborah, Megan, and Miriam here. You can share files. So for example, let's say we want to send maybe a PowerPoint to Megan here, we can actually attach something directly from within OneDrive. So if you've got your files stored there in the cloud and we need to share something with a team member, let's just say we're going to share this PowerPoint here. I'm going to click share. Here's the presentation we discussed. And send that. And that's actually going to send a message here to Megan, and she'll be able to access that file directly here. So you can see here earlier where we shared a Word document, and within Teams, you can actually open that file directly, all without ever having to leave Microsoft Teams. And when you're done with it, you can just close it out. So that's one way that Teams makes collaboration super powerful. And what's really cool about this is here recently, probably in the last year or so, Microsoft has opened this up to where this is available not just between internal team members within your organization, but you can actually collaborate with external business partners who are also using Microsoft Teams. So if you're working with third-party service providers, you can actually take advantage of all of the features of Microsoft Teams across organizations. Another feature of Teams is actually setting up groups within Teams. So think of groups as logical organizations, logical groups within an organization. So maybe you have an IT department, maybe you have a marketing department, or maybe you want to track a new project that has a subset of people within your organization. Each of those could have a team, and within team, you can have different communications, collaborations with files, chats, meetings, all within that team. So I'll show you an example here. Looking at the X1050 launch team in our demo tenant here. This is let's just say it's a special project. And there's a group of people who are working on this. And within that, they're able to track different designs and the conversations around designing, around their digital assets, marketing. It's a logical way to separate chats. And what's fantastic about this is as you add new people to the team, let's say that you started out with a small group and you need to add resources to a team to help finish a project. When you add someone to this team, they suddenly get access to all of this information, all of the historical data. So it's really easy for somebody new coming in to be able to catch up with where you are on a project, what's happening. It makes it really easy to get up to speed on that kind of thing. You can also share files within this. So if we look at the files section here within this team, all of these files are related to this project. It's a central place to store things that everyone who's a member of this team has access to. Another thing that we mentioned with Teams is it brings in your calendar. So you can see here, we've got the Small Business Academy scheduled this morning. We could join this meeting directly from within Teams, from our calendar here. This is also integrating with our bookings calendar that we talked about last time. All of that is one central place. You can even see that we can manage our bookings calendar, the schedule here from within Teams. So that's another interface to access those tools. We talked about files, and I mentioned that by default, of course, anything that you have stored in OneDrive, or if you're using SharePoint, all of those files are available directly within Teams. So instead of having to search on your computer or go between multiple apps, you can bring all of that into one place here with Teams and access that and share that. Finally here, talking about extending bookings that we talked about last time. There's a new feature available, and it's actually part of a new Teams add-on license called Teams Premium, and it's called Virtual Appointments. So in addition to allowing either internal or external resources to book a meeting with someone on your team, there's this new concept of virtual appointments. And virtual appointments will allow you to join an ad hoc meeting or an ad hoc virtual appointment. So Chris, you and I discussed this earlier this week, and one of the things we talked about, an example of this might be a doctor's office. If you think, doctor's offices have, you can schedule an appointment with the doctor's office, you can schedule a doctor's appointment, and that's on the calendar, but you can also accept walk-in patients in a doctor's office, or at least a lot of them. And so virtual appointments kind of make that possible in a virtual concept, in a virtual world where, sure, you can have a scheduled meeting with someone, but maybe you also need to allow like a virtual walk-in and an on-demand meeting. Virtual appointments will allow you to do that. So we're going to hop over here, and you might recognize this from the last time we met and discussed bookings. We've added this feature to where you can schedule an appointment, and you'll see that looks pretty similar to what we've looked at before. Or you can see a staff member now, and we're going to select this service. In this example here, we're looking at a CPA firm, and they just are going to offer quick assistance for tax prep on demand. But what you can see here is when you enter your information, and this would be your customer in this scenario, and they're going to say, hey, we want to meet now. It's going to automatically bring them into a Teams meeting. And what's cool about this is they don't have to have a login for Teams. They don't have to have any access to Microsoft Teams. This is going to be your customers, anybody that wants a meeting with you or a virtual appointment with you. They're going to enter their information and they're going to click join now. And then what you're going to see on the admin side of things is now of course we have our scheduled meetings, but then also here we have someone waiting in our virtual queue for an on-demand meeting. And so to have that conversation, I literally can click one button, join now, and now I've interacted with the person in the virtual queue.
Cameron, so if I have Teams app on my computer, it pops up there, like it gives me a notification you have someone waiting.
That's right. Yeah, you can always view the queue at any time, and you can see past appointments as well.
So one of the things that just spoke to me is, once or twice a year, we do a whole bunch of virtual meetings with people that are at ULM and Tech and sometimes Delta Community College to kind of get advice on careers, as a virtual career day. So we could have one, instead of sending each one their own Zoom link, we could have one, virtual appointment thing, and they're sitting in a queue, kind of waiting for their slot.
Absolutely. And that actually brings up another good point. Something else that you can do with Teams is, let's say in your example, you have a virtual event like that, kind of a virtual job fair or virtual career fair. If you think about a physical career fair that you might have in person, that's one big room, but then you've got individual businesses or individual kind of smaller groups of people who would be meeting together. Teams actually has a feature called breakout rooms, where you can have, let's say, 100 people in a meeting, but they don't necessarily all have to see and talk to each other at the same time. You can move them into a breakout room. So you might put 5 or 6 people per breakout room, and you can separate that. So in your example, maybe you have a breakout room for a particular employer or a particular industry, and you can move people into a breakout room so they can chat with just those people that are, relevant to whatever industry they're looking to get into.
Yeah, and so I was thinking about this when we talked. If we could have all kinds of industry rooms and have a public virtual job fair that students can pop in and out and have one-on-one time or group time with someone that's an expert in their industry. So you could almost have a virtual conference with one person,
Exactly.
the train director, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Reunion question mark.
Sorry, was there a question?
Hey, Cameron, I've got a quick question. I know Windows 11 has Teams built into it. Is that any different than the business version of Teams?
It is. And a lot of businesses and IT administrators hate that built-in Teams version because currently it only supports the personal/home version of Teams. So if you're a business or an enterprise looking to use Teams, you actually have to have the separate Teams app that supports a work or school account.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So do you find that Teams is a lot better application if you also install the app on your phone?
Absolutely. So much work happens on the go now. And so having to wait till you get back to a computer to respond to a message or to share a file, or even to join a meeting, especially with the remote work that a lot of companies are allowing, having access to all of this on your phone makes it a lot more of a seamless interaction, especially if you're talking about an internal team. Somebody just sends you a quick message, almost like a text message, right? If it's something you can respond to on the go, anything that you have access to on the web or on the desktop versions are, it's pretty much available within the mobile app. So yeah, definitely using the two in tandem, personally, I love it.
Okay.
I give you an example too. We discussed being able to collaborate with external business partners. So I'm actually a member of a peer group of IT professionals, actually IT business owners, all across the country. And we actually use Microsoft Teams exclusively for kind of one-to-one chat, for group chat. There are some projects that we work on together from time to time. And we can keep all of those files, all of those meetings, meeting recordings, all of that kind of stuff directly within Teams. It's in one spot, easy place to find and store things. So that's just one way that you can work with external partners through Teams. It's not just the one-to-one chat feature. You can actually leverage the power of Teams and shared files and shared resources across Microsoft 365 tenants. The other thing that's really powerful too is within Teams here, and we don't have any set up actually in our demo, but within Teams, if you use any of the project management tools that Microsoft 365 offers, such as Microsoft Planner or Microsoft To Do, you can actually add that functionality directly within Teams for that specific project or for that specific department. However you have your Teams structure, all of that again is kind of in one spot. I mentioned earlier that Teams just last week actually came out with the Teams Premium license, which adds some pretty cool things to the Teams platform. So, one of the big pushes right now is AI powered meetings. And so with Teams, what does that look like? Some practical real world uses of AI within Teams. So one of the new features is called Intelligent Recap. And a lot of times, especially if you're meeting with groups of people, 3, 4, 5 people or more, a lot of times you'll come away with a lot of notes, maybe a lot of action items, things that you maybe need to get back to someone on. So with Intelligent Recap, Microsoft Teams actually can recommend a set of meeting notes, can recommend a set of action items based on the conversation that happened within the meeting. And that might not be 100%, but it gives you a great starting point that really takes that after action time required to, finish up notes, figure out what the bullet points are, send that kind of stuff out to your team. It really does a lot of that work for you, at least giving you a baseline. Maybe you need to modify a few things before you send that out. So that's one of the things that's available in Teams Premium now. And again, this was just released last week, just announced for general availability last week. The other thing that's really cool is live captions. So think, if you're watching TV and you turn on closed captions, Teams can do that live. It can translate to text live captions. The other neat thing about it is it actually offers live translation. So if you're meeting with people who speak multiple languages, maybe you're meeting with someone who speaks French. I know I don't speak French. Teams can actually translate that language live. And so on your side where it's showing you captions, it's converting that to your preferred language. Just another one of the cool AI powered features of Teams Premium. And then again, too, virtual appointments, we discussed that. Certain features within virtual appointments, specifically the on-demand Meet Now functionality is part of that Teams Premium SKU. So how can you get into Teams? If you have a Microsoft 365 account through your business, through your work today, you can scan the QR code here on the top, log in. That'll take you right to it. Or you can visit the URL sqhelp.net/msteams. That's just a quick link that'll take you right to Microsoft Teams. If you want to learn more about Teams and some of the features that are offered within the platform, if you just scan this QR code here, learn more, or visit the URL there, that'll take you to a page that gives more information on Teams and how it might be useful in your organization. Chris, do we have any other questions?
So Cameron, we talked last time about Microsoft bookings, and that's very valuable. The integration into Teams. I think it's really cool. And I didn't realize this, that we could be making external appointments or real-time conversations, even if they don't have the app. So the question that I have follow up to that is, so let's say we integrate that bookings into our web page, and somebody comes to our web page and they go, oh, it's business hours. I want to talk to somebody about something chamber related. Does it automatically say that that nobody's available when your schedule is full or after business hours, or how does that automated thing work?
That's a great question. It does respect all of the booking settings on your bookings page. So like we discussed last time, you can set up when you have a bookings page, you can set business hours. And then two, you can also set availability within the staff members you have assigned to the page. So bookings actually will respect those calendar settings.
I gotcha. And then so when I'm mobile and I'm logged into my app, and let's say I've stepped away from my desk, that notification follows me on all my devices. It's going to pop up and say Cameron's in the queue waiting to talk to you.
That's right. Yep.
Is there a way, if they sit there for a length of time or something, that they can like leave a message or like a voicemail?
Yeah, so it's not available just yet, but they have announced it's coming soon, the ability to interact with people in the queue. So an example of that might be taking our doctor's office example. Let's say you have an office manager who's managing the queue, but the doctor is actually seeing patients virtually. The office manager would be able to interact with the people in the queue through like a chat message within Teams without having to actually join that meeting and start that, right? So that's something that's coming soon. It's not available today, but it is on the roadmap.
And then, internally, I can manage a team, or I can manage a group. Like you were giving the example of you have a whole network of people that you're managed. So anybody in that organization can manage that queue, or there's still one owner, or you have hierarchy of ownership?
Yeah, so you have different roles within booking specifically that will allow you it to be basically just someone who's available to book a meeting with, or you can be considered a scheduler or an administrator. So there are a couple different roles that give you different levels of permission.
Got it. Cool. Well, this has been very informative. Cameron, what's up next? What's up next time?
I'm so glad you asked. So coming up,
Shameless plug.
yeah, that's right. So coming up next, we're going to be talking about specifically gathering feedback and tracking tasks with Microsoft Forms and Microsoft Lists. And spoiler, there are integrations with Microsoft Teams for that too. So just one more way that the entire ecosystem can work together. But there's some really powerful capability within that, especially if you're working across teams to track to-dos, track support requests, track different things you can do with Microsoft Lists and gathering feedback with Microsoft Forms.
That's awesome. Thanks, Cameron. Is there any other questions? If not, man, Cameron's been really informative. We'll provide this as well as the previous recorded session. And in addition to the link to the third and final in this series, that's all about taking advantage of the tools in Microsoft Office and trying to make your life a little bit easier in scheduling and communicating with your clients. So Cameron, thank you so much. And your contact information is on the screen. And we really appreciate you. And thanks for being a chamber member and sharing your knowledge.